This is Porch Lore, and I'm your host, Devin. This is the tale of the Carolina Creeper. I don't talk about this often. Actually, I try not to think about it at all. But some things, they don't just live in your memory. They live in the spaces between, waiting, watching. This happened when I was 24. I had moved into a rental house outside of Asheville, North Carolina. I was in that phase of life where I just wanted space, to breathe, to be alone with my thoughts. Maybe write, maybe just figure out who I was without the noise of the city or people constantly in my ear. I found this place, a little one-bedroom house deep in the woods, old, probably built in the early 1900s, but solid. It was cheap, which should have been my first warning sign, but I figured maybe it was just a lucky find. The landlord was an older man who seemed in a rush when he showed me around. He kept saying the same thing, "You'll like it here, as long as you don't go wandering too far past the tree line." I thought that was odd, but I figured he just meant it was easy to get lost. For the first few weeks, everything was fine. Peaceful, even. There was something comforting about the sound of the trees at night, the way the wind moved through them like whispers. I kept the windows open to let the fresh air in. I even got used to the occasional weird noise, branches snapping, rustling, the usual wildlife. But then, things started to change. It began with small things. The first time, I was brushing my teeth and noticed my reflection in the mirror, looking slightly off. Not in an obvious way, just a fraction of a second delay, like it took too long for my movements to sync up. I told myself it was just exhaustion or stress, nothing serious. Then I started hearing the knocking. Just past midnight. 3 slow knocks, evenly spaced, and always at the back door. I ignored it at first. There were no footprints, no signs of anyone being there. And my nearest neighbor was miles away. But it kept happening. Then the knocking changed. One night, instead of at the back door, I heard it at my bedroom window. Not a regular knock, though. It was too high up. My bedroom was on the second floor. I laid in bed frozen, staring at the window. But there was nothing there. Just silence and the feeling of being watched. I started keeping the curtains closed after that. There's an old Appalachian superstition about keeping your drapes closed after dark. And now I know why. A week later, I woke up in the middle of the night to find my front door wide open. I know I locked it. I had double-checked every night since the knocking started. But there it was, yawning open into the black woods beyond. The porch light barely illuminating the first few feet of the trees. I stood there, heart pounding, feeling like if I stepped outside, something would be waiting just beyond the light, just out of sight. I didn't sleep that night. I called the landlord the next morning, trying to sound casual, like I wasn't losing my mind. I asked if anyone had ever reported weird things happening here. He went quiet for a long time, before telling me to just stay inside at night and don't look at it. That's all he said before hanging up the phone. Look at what? I should have left right then. I should have packed my things and gotten out of there. But I didn't. I kept telling myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe someone was messing with me. Maybe I was just imagining things. Then the worst night happened. I had fallen asleep on the couch, exhausted, feeling drained in a way that didn't feel normal, like something had been pulling at me, slowly wearing me down. When I woke up, it was pitch black. The fire in the fireplace burned down to embers. And then I heard it. Not knocking this time. Breathing. right next to me. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe for a second. The air felt thick, suffocating. I could feel something there, inches away. Something massive and wrong. Then it shifted. The couch sank beside me, like something heavy had just sat down. That's when I ran. I didn't look. I didn't think. I just bolted upstairs, slamming the bedroom door behind me, locking it. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Then it knocked. 3 slow knocks. Right outside my bedroom door. The part that still makes my stomach drop when I think about it. There were no footsteps. Whatever it was, it had followed me up to my bedroom, and fast, but it hadn't even made a sound. I didn't sleep. I sat with my back against the door until the sun came up, gripping my trusty Maglite flashlight, the heaviest thing I could find. When I finally got the courage to check, the house was fine. Nothing was out of place. The front door was locked and the windows were shut. But something had changed. The woods didn't feel empty anymore. I left that day. I packed whatever I could fit in my car and I just left. I didn't even call the landlord. I didn't want to hear what he had to say. A month later, I got a call from a random number. It was the landlord's son. He told me his father had passed away and that he was handling the rental properties. Then he asked if I had seen it. I didn't answer. Before he hung up, he said something that still haunts me. If it's followed you, don't ever acknowledge it. And never, ever open the door. I don't know what it was. I don't want to know. But sometimes, even now, when I'm alone at night, I think I hear it. 3 slow knocks. And I don't ever open the door.